What's going on, family? This is Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. I want to take a look at a heavyweight championship bout that took place on September 27th, 1950, between Joe Louis, the Brown Bomber, and Eddie Charles, the Cincinnati Cobra. Now, these two Hall of Famers would pass the baton from a 12-year great heavyweight champion to a former black murderous row that fought in the middleweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight division until finally getting his shot against the great Brown Bomber. What a story. Now, I want to go through their careers in this fight, but I want to do it with you right here on the Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. Ezard Mac Charles, the Cincinnati Cobra, was born July 7th, 1921 in Lawrenceville, Georgia. He later on would move to Cincinnati, Ohio. Now, he would die May 27th, 1975 in Chicago, Illinois. He'd be entered into the Ring Hall of Fame in 1970 and the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 1990. Now, Eddie Charles would stand 6 feet and weigh 160 to 204 pounds. He was managed by Burt Williams and Charles Dyer. He was trained by Ray Arcel. Now, he would fight in 3 weight divisions: middleweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight. And during his way to the heavyweight championship, he would become one of the only fighters from Cincinnati to hold that distinction. He would fight ring greats such as Charlie Burley, Jimmy Bivens, Lloyd Marshall, Archie Moore, Joe Walcott, Gus Lesnievich, Joe Louis, Lee Omer, Freddie Bishaw. February 20th, 1948, he would face Sam Baruti, an outstanding fighter. But unfortunately, in Cleveland, Ohio, he would KO Sam Baruti, and Sammy Rudy would die in the ring. Charles would defeat Joe Louis, 1951. He would defend his title 8 times. Charles would fight 13 times for the heavyweight championship. In 1937 through 1939, Charles would win 10 amateur titles. 1940 to 1950, Charles would face fighters such as Joey Maxim, light heavyweight champion, Gus Lesnievich, light heavyweight champion, Harold Johnson, light heavyweight champion, Black Murderous Row, Jimmy Bivens, Charlie Burley, Curtis Shepard, Lloyd Marshall. He would face Milo Patina, light heavyweight champion, Archie Moore, light heavyweight champion, Harold Johnson, who was also light heavyweight champion of the world. Fascinating resume of the Cincinnati Cobra, Eddie Charles. Eddie Charles would meet the Brown Bomber, Joe Louis. And this would be his first opportunity for the heavyweight championship of the world. In my estimation, Eddie Charles would have been one of the greatest middleweight fighters of all times had he stayed in the division. But he was a phenomenal fighter. Was Eddie Charles. Joe Louis. Joe Louis Barrow, the Brown Bomber, was born May 13th, 1914 in Lafayette, Alabama. He died April 12th, 1981 in Las Vegas, Nevada. He stood 6 foot 1 3/4 inches and weighed 188 to 218 pounds. He was managed by Julian Black and John Roxborough, and he was trained by the legendary Jack Chappie Blackburn. Now, Joe Louis would record 50 fights, 4 losses, with 43 by the knockout. He would be introduced into the Ring Hall of Fame in 1954 and inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 1990. Now, he would have a great amateur career and fight 10 world champions: Primo Carnera, Jack Sharkey, John Henry Lewis, Max Schmeling, Max Baer, Joe Walcott, Billy Conn, James Braddock, Rocky Marciano, and Ezzard Charles. What a fascinating career Joe Louis would have. On September 27th, 1950, Yankee Stadium, Ezzard Charles would meet the great Brown Bomber, and the NBA and the vacant Ring Lineal Heavyweight Championship would be on the line. By the 13th round, Charles had a swollen left eye, and Joe Louis would have a bloody nose. Joe's right eye began to close. Charles went in the 15th round and becomes the brand new heavyweight champion of the world. The Cincinnati Cobra would accomplish his dream, and he would be the first black murderous row to become the world heavyweight champion of the world. And that would delete his name from the black murderous row because he would now become champion. But he fought them all in his middleweight accomplishments. Now, Charles would face Jersey Joe Walcott. And this would be after 8 title defenses. Joe Walcott was an unbelievable fighter in the 1930s, 1940s. And he would get his shot at Joe Louis. June 1948. But he would come up short. There were those who would say that Joe Walcott was robbed in the first fight. But they would have a rematch, and there would be no question who the heavyweight champion of the world would be. As Joe Louis knocks out Jersey Joe Walcott and retains the heavyweight championship of the world. So Ezzard Charles and Joe Walcott would have it out. 1951. And Jersey Joe Walcott would knock out Ezzard Charles with a bodacious left hook. One of my top 10 left hooks in the history of the game. and he himself would become the heavyweight champion of the world. Edgar Charles, Joe Louis, Brown Bomber, the Cincinnati Cobra, September 27, 1950. Outstanding year for the heavyweight division. And the passing of the torch for one great Brown Bomber. Salute to Edgar Charles.